Nottingham Forest beat Southampton 1-0 and move 15th in the Premier League. It's Scarpa's birthday. Everything's rosy in the garden right now. Let's get into Grumpy Old Reds live and get the discussion going. Welcome to the show. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Whatever time of day you're watching this, hope you're having a wonderful day. And why would you not be after the delight of last night? Welcome to Grumpy Old Reds Live, and we have with us the usuals. We got Ez, we got Ant, and we got Dino making a special, designated, what's the word I'm looking for? An honorary Grumpy Old Reds today. Guys, I don't know really how we're going to be too grumpy today because I'm still buzzing from yesterday, and it's just been fantastic, mate. I want to start with Ant. I want to get Ant up and running. How you feeling after yesterday, mate?
Oh, it feels good. It feels really good to be having a away win, score a goal, 15th in the table, Scarpa making his debut and looking everything we hoped he would be. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good at the minute.
Dino,
I'll tell you what. The only thing I am annoyed about is I don't give a shit about the cup. So I want to get back to the Premier League. So we get into form, we get up the table, then we stop. Anyway,
I know what you're saying. I've been having that dilemma myself this afternoon. Dino, I mean, you still look grumpy, to be honest, mate. But
I'm just trying to fit in with the theme.
With the theme.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Scarpa. My dearest Scarpa. Happy birthday to you. No, I'm feeling really good. Great team performance yesterday, I thought. A battle, but great. Love it. Very
fantastic.
Exciting.
Ez, are you joining me and Ant on the old man crush with our boy here, Scarpina? You saw him live in the flesh yesterday. Yeah. I heard you screaming out. For those, I'm sure if anyone saw the shorts today, did you like hear Ez going, Scarpa? and then he messages me saying, he turned around and fist pumped me, and then he sends me the video. The fist pump's from like 30 yards away. And I thought he was there.
Okay. Even his fist pumps have got a swerve on them. If you watch it, it's like but it just really topped off a fantastic result. Seeing him in the flesh and him having making quite an impression last night as well. And yeah, it was just brilliant to be there. The away fans, as ever, were fantastic last night, and it's no small thing to say, but again, we dominated the stadium. We always do. We go away, we dominate these stadiums. How big or small you are, our Forest fans make the most noise. So yeah, look, amazing to be part of that. And I'm still down here at the moment, so yeah.
Fantastic. Hence why he's got the red sheets up and everything. I want to say hi to you guys. Oh, there goes the voice. I want to say hi to you guys in the chat. How are you all doing? I mean, Sean, come on, Sean. Come on. You can't say that, Sean. Come on, man. He played one nice ball and lost possession. Have you not watched my video from today, the full analysis of Scarpina and what he performed? I'm not having that, Sean, but you are entitled to your opinion. And Mick is there putting him straight. Good on you, Mick. Good on you, Mick. Good to see you guys. Lemmy. I spoke to Lemmy earlier. Guys, he's on the road to recovery. He will be back soon. Keep on that soup, Lemmy. Keep on that soup. Good to see you, Visual Joker. Hope you're well. Mark, hope everything with you and your family is on the mend. Good to see you in here. Hey, Sharky's back, boys. Sharky's back. He's up. He's running. Good to have you in, mate. And for all you Sharky fans, he will be on the show soon. I'm getting really lispy today. I don't know why. Hey, Kieran, good to see you. Hope you're well. James, good to have you on board as well. And Pat, how are you? Who's the tart on the wall, Ant?
It's a tart.
I can't believe you guys don't recognise the fabulous bottom of Kylie Minogue. I spent hours painting that bottom, I can tell you.
I'm glad you said hours painting. I thought Adam, good to see you. Hey, we got some Palmeiras fans. Palmeiras fans, how are you? These honorary Forest fans, it's good to have you here. My voice is so shot today.
Wishing Scarpa a happy birthday.
Absolutely. Is that what it says?
Yeah, he's wishing himself.
And I'm not even going to embarrass myself for trying to pronounce it. It's good to see you guys. All right, let's get into the show. Ez, from our guy on the ground, Chris Kamara style, as we jumped you onto the stream yesterday, the chat were joking away with you. Atmosphere was fantastic. We've covered that. How did the game go from the fans' perspective? Did it get nervy at any stage? Because we did lock down quite a bit in the second half and and played quite deep. Did that reflect into the crowd, or did you feel it was comfortable at all times?
I think more of that it was comfortable. And I think what helped us become even more comfortable is how they turned on their own team, and that was definitely affecting the way they were playing. There was no confidence in their attacks. There was no confidence in their movement. The fans they did boo them off at halftime, and certainly booed them off at the end of the match as well. But there was times, probably the nerviest time was probably seeing 4 minutes on the clock for injury time, and that's as nervy as it got. But we were comfortable. Another goal, obviously, I said at halftime, another goal would have killed it off. And there was a question you asked me at halftime, which I didn't hear at the time. And I was only a couple of rows from the front. You asked me how close I was. You know what Simon's like when he gets a ticket. You know, it's always front row. So, yeah, I was right there. It was amazing atmosphere, good view. Yeah, the best thing about the whole experience from their point of view was the light show they put on at the start. That was actually quite impressive, with the flames and all that. And the music, it took me back to my raving days. But other than that, mate, they offered nothing from a fan base at all.
It was good to see that the Southampton fans got to finally see some fireworks on the pitch, you know. So it's, at least they got that. And then, Ant, coming from the perspective of where we were watching it from yesterday, how did you see the match overall? I mean, as a spectacle, it wasn't fantastic, but who really cares, I guess, at this stage? But what was your kind of quick assessment of the game?
Yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? At the end of the day, at this stage of the proceedings, the result is everything. Look, we kept them quiet, didn't we? We kept them at bay. They didn't have a shot on target the entire match. We had a couple of chances. We put one of them away. Away performance, never easy to win away in the league. So every point is precious. Yep, pleased with it.
Fantastic. And Dino, we spoke during the match. How are you after you've slept on it? How are you feeling about it all, mate?
I don't think we're going back down. I think we've got a run of games now that we can get some points from. And I think there are teams. I mean, when I looked at Southampton, I saw a team that we were quite a few matches ago. You know, they are now where we were.
Yeah.
Desperate, really. You know, I watched the lads you had on yesterday, the Southampton lads. Oh,
they're good lads.
Their vlog? Yeah, they're lovely lads. They did a great vlog. If anybody in the chat needs to hunt that out, it's a really good vlog, actually. It's a lot of fun, but the best thing about it, you can see Forest fans jumping up in the background, and you can hear them really loudly because the camera was angled. But yeah, I mean, they were dreadful. I think JP's just said Southampton were terrible. They were terrible, lacking in confidence. But a solid professional performance. You know, I'm very upbeat. The most upbeat I've been all season, other than the first game of the season where you think you're going to win the league and then you realise you've just been turned over by Newcastle.
I was pessimistic. I said fourth, mate.
Just on that point there, absolutely, Southampton were terrible, but they were terrible when Arsenal managed to scrape a point at their ground. No game is easy. Don't take it for granted.
Correct, yeah.
But it is a question I think that we do need to address, because I've been bantered from my non-Forest fan mates saying, wow, congratulations, you beat Southampton. You know, I had some banter text saying, because I had a few mates watching it saying, yeah, it was like watching a championship match and all that. Do you buy into this? I mean, they were poor. But my response on the text was quite simple. You can only beat what's in front of you.
Yeah, it was always going to be that type of game, wasn't it? It was never going to be a free-flowing a team that hasn't won at home all season against a team who hasn't won away from home all season, and both struggling to score goals. It wasn't going to be an end-to-end goal fest at any stage, and we knew that, and we accepted that. And what was the most important thing was getting that result and carrying on the momentum from the Chelsea game, the second half, and that's what I felt we did in the first half. We carried on that momentum, bar that early chance from Shea Adams, which was was really poor defending to get him in there. But he proved why I'm glad that it was only a link with him and we didn't go any further, because he's just not got that. He's not that clinical striker that you need. I know you don't get many chances when you're down at the bottom of a league, and if you can't take them, then it only means one thing. So I'm more than happy with how we carried on that momentum, like I said, into the first half, and we just didn't look under any pressure at all, mate. So yeah. I can't remember what your question was, but
it's fine. It's fine. I'll move on from you. Dino, on Che Adams, there are small links again to him in this window, and I'll stick to what I said in the summer. I think he's shit. I don't know what you think of him, Dino. Is there a striker in there that maybe Cooper could develop? Is he just a no-goer for you? And guys in the chat, Che Adams, yes or no? We'll do a poll, in fact. Go on, Dino. Get your thoughts in. I want to know what the guys think.
I think part of being a good striker is confidence. Another part of being a good striker is the service that you get into. And he kind of had neither last night. I mean, it was a bad effort from him, in the first half. But I don't think there's any strong links. I've seen rumours. Obviously, I look after the high press on Twitter, and I keep an eye out on all the sort of real rumours.
At FFTV high press, please follow. Follow.
Thank you. Yeah, and on there we make sure we put links out that have been sourced by someone credible, and not just rumours and gossip. So I've heard the rumours and gossip, but I've not posted it because I don't believe it's true. Secondly, I don't know if anybody else thinks this, but I said this to you yesterday, that I don't believe he's going to go in for a striker. I think he's set on this false nine for the rest of the season, because the people we've been linked to are attacking midfielders in the main. And I just think that he's determined to have the two guys either side running by your Cam.
Yeah, I mean, and what were your thoughts on him? Because Adam's making a point. I know he's probably defending his namesake there. He scored 8 goals this season, double our top striker. Is there a player in him? Now, we're not discussing if he's coming to Forest or not, but as there's a bit of rumours and we've been talking, we're in the transfer window. Is he the kind of striker you'd be interested or not?
No, not for me. Look, football's a game of opinions. My opinion of Che Adams is he's not a great striker. I wouldn't like him. I wouldn't like to have to rely on him to get me goals. I just don't think he's a good striker. It's the eye test. I don't care how many goals he's got. I just don't think he's a good striker. I've got a question for the chat though. Do you like the cartoons of us on our thumbnail?
Did you notice the cartoons?
I'm very proud of it. And does it make Ant look a little bit younger? It's what he really wants to know.
Anything would, to be fair.
I was thinking the same thing. See how they bully me? You don't know how they bully me off screen.
This isn't the Ant Vanity show, right? Yeah, this isn't the Ant Vanity show. We want to know what the guys are thinking. So, oh God, they're talking about you again. Martin saying Ant will probably remember this song. Listen to the chorus. Perfect song for the fans to sing. For Big Willie, listen, Wolfie. Wait, which song?
I'm a bit confused about that.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about that.
Oh, wait, has he put a link in? Or something? I don't know.
Well, the link won't come up, unfortunately. Phil's saying he'd rather see a top-class centre-back at the moment. And I do want to talk about the defence. Dino, you were impressed with the defence yesterday. Excuse me, especially the line and how straight it was, etc. Do you see this now as a defence that will get us to Niakate, or do you think we need some strengthening before Niakate is back and potentially for after his return?
Yeah, I thought we needed 2, but now potentially 1. But then that's not factoring in injuries, is it? Because what I saw yesterday was Bolly and Niakate would probably be our first choice right now, because Bolly's had a couple of really good games. Are you listening? Bolly's on
it's Jimmy. Jimmy's the bloody joker, isn't he? What great.
And
we had to pay extra for the extra brown paint it took to paint out all the grey.
Just leave it as white paper.
Sorry, Dino. Let's get serious.
No, don't get serious. And Worrell had his best game for us this season last night as well. So I don't know. do we need to have more? Do we need to buy 2 good centre backs and have some people pissed off that they don't get in the side? I don't know, but we definitely need one. I think because either one of those 2 get injured.
Yeah.
Stuff. Or if we come up against, I mean, he was all right. He was really good last night, Bolly, because he wasn't playing against pace. They had no pace really. And I think he was so dominant in the air and in the interceptions and blocks. But if we've got a team that's got pace against us counter-attacking, I think we need 2 fast ones. So you probably need a fast centre-back for me.
Yeah. Ez, would you, I still think I'm putting words in your mouth, but correct me if I'm wrong. You'd still put Niakate in as first choice, I assume, once he's fully fit.
Yeah, 100%. If he's fully fit, I think we, again, he's another one we're probably putting a lot of pressure on because we only saw like a game and a half from him, but we saw enough there that he's got the ability to make a difference in this team. So yeah, I'd have him straight in once he's fully fit. And if you want to further answer to the question, I'd probably pair him with Bolly right now. But touching on what Dino said, it was Worrell's best game, and he has progressed over the last few games. He seems to be, I think Wolverine, you mentioned it on Watch Along, but probably being next to Aurier consistently has helped 100%. His game. And I have to agree with that. So it would be a tough decision, but this is what we want Cooper to have: tough decisions, not putting in players because on their reputation or because they're favourites or whatever reason, but they will on merit and have enough competition that nobody's guaranteed their place.
Wait, how come Dino's the sensible? Wait, bring up Adam's comment back, right? What are you saying, Adam? I'm not sensible. Come on, Adam.
He has got a point.
Oh yeah, I couldn't really argue it. I just had to shout about it. Yeah. What's Bobby saying here?
Like a referee.
Because why can't the referee stop the clock, raise hands similar to offside? The official timekeepers stop the clock in the stadium, start clock with a chop and blow off the whistle. It sounds cool. I think as well, Sharky brought that point up. I think they're talking about this extra time, this injury time stuff. So, and did you prefer how they were doing it in the World Cup, where they literally were adding time on correctly? Or did you just feel the game's dragged on? I mean, I couldn't have coped yesterday with like 8 or 9 minutes.
No,
of it. I think it was 4 in the end.
What? 100%. Get 15 minutes out. Arsenal played Newcastle the other night. 50 minutes was played out of 90. It's ripping the public off. Make them play for, obviously not 90 minutes because it would go on too long, but certainly, whatever time should be added on, should be added on. So if it's 15 minutes, 15 minutes.
It's sure in the World
and I think
Cup,
after a time, the time wasting would then eventually slow down and maybe even stop because the players would then know it's pointless wasting time because it's going to get added on. So I think go for the World Cup.
I don't know if they were trialing it in the World Cup. I'm not sure, but definitely all those games are a lot longer, weren't they? Excuse me.
Yeah, it was a definite policy.
And
I've always thought as well that it should be taken out of the hands of the referee because the referee's got a lot of stuff going on sometimes. If it's a melee or something, he went, hang on, guys, stop fighting. I'm going to stop my watch. Carry on, right? Stop. So oftentimes he won't stop that watch. I've always thought somebody sat in the stand should be the one doing the time,
or even the fourth official,
and it should be displayed.
Yeah, fourth official.
Should be displayed as well,
or even a specialized. Because sometimes the fourth official's got managers at him and everything. Something happens on the pitch. So somebody in the stand, official time.
It's not hard, is it?
You in the stand. You could do it in the stand because if we're losing, you could have like half an hour on. It'd be great.
You're joking. You can't count past 10.
And if we're winning, you could take it to 80 minutes and we'll finish.
I was going to say though, trouble is if we're losing and I had the time on, we could still be there 3 days later, couldn't we? And still lose it. That's the problem.
And would you take it a step further though, where because when you look at most games, the ball is only in play in a half for say 30 minutes or so of the 45, not including the additional time. Would you want to see the full 45 minutes of in-play action, or do you not want to? Is it more the time wasting that you want to take out? Chat, what do you reckon?
I mean, I think it would go on for, if we did stop it, because like I say, that match was 50 minutes. That means there was 40 minutes where the ball wasn't in play. So you start adding that on, it does get a little bit silly. So there'd have to be mainly for time wasting and that sort of thing.
Did
Not
you
every
see,
time it
did
went
you
out
see-
for a throw-in or something like that.
Yeah,
Too-
I think
too
they're
long.
potentially trying to address it, aren't they, with a multi-ball, and that has helped. Occasionally, you get 2 balls on the pitch, but that doesn't happen too often. But the
Southampton still
multiple
couldn't score with any of them.
Yeah.
Did you see when the Southampton? You see when the Southampton player got injured off the pitch,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he
and he
did
rolled
like
him on.
4 rolls back on, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. He rolled him on.
Mind you, I've seen Brennan do that as well. And can you imagine how long the game just lasted if Brees was in goal and we were 1-0 up?
But the thing is, they do it in American football, don't they? It's like controlled externally, but every time it goes out, timeouts and things like that, etc., it just gets messy. I'll tell you one thing. We're going slightly off topic here, but I do like the idea of challenges being given to managers. I know we're going at a tangent, but I've always wondered on this discussion. I'd be interested in what the chat think. Ez, would you think that's something? You know how they do it in cricket? They've got like 2 reviews they can do. They lose it or they keep it if it's right or wrong. So that's something you think we should do and almost take VAR out of the equation, and that stops all these. We seem to get it the worst, don't we? Where when they review a Forest one that's against us, it takes 30 minutes, and Man City have just scored. Sorry.
Oh no, I think that's a potential solution to that, definitely, because they do it in cricket. They also do it in tennis, don't they? Where you get a couple of calls. I think it's worth a trial, certainly. Even if they do it in one of the obscure leagues in Europe or wherever, and just test it out and see how it works. But that's not a bad way of addressing it, because VAR has this first time we've witnessed it in a season as Forest fans, and at the stadium, it's horrible, isn't it? And it's because you have no information, you don't get told what's going on, and it really causes unrest. Even when we scored the equaliser against Brentford, we couldn't really celebrate until the check was clear. No, I think it's a way of doing it, actually, and possibly something that if they're not already looking at, that they should certainly look at. So good point there, Wolverine.
Go on, Dino.
No, I was just waving at Third High Townsend that said hi. I was just waving at him.
Oh, I thought you were just going to be like, you had some,
no. I've got nothing
little
to say.
gems to talk about it. Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea about it. I don't want to go too far off a tangent on it, but there are still things that need to be improved in the game. And for me, the one I'd ask you about, Dina, is miking the ref up. Again, they do that in rugby. I think it works quite well. Like, should that not be considered in football? We really are going off topic here. But we'll finish with this one. I'll get Ant's thoughts on it, and then we'll talk Forest.
Don't know. I don't know, because a lot of kids go to the games, and a lot of the stuff that goes on to the ref is terrible language. And I know kids swear, and my youngest swears, so. But it's not very good.
I don't think that's acceptable anyway, whether the kids or not. It's not acceptable to have everyone blinding on public announcement.
I think the refs need to get tougher on that first, before they bring that in.
Yeah, but so you're kind of on the fence about it. Is anyone strongly for or against it?
Marking up.
Yeah.
I think
agree with Omar in that.
Yeah,
they need to be respected first.
I would. Obviously, with the miking up, the referee has the facility to switch the mic on and off. So I would have the miking up for like VAR and stuff like that. So we could come on and say, we're checking VAR. We think it's, there's been a possible incident. Explain. So it wouldn't be on full time, because football is different to rugby. It's different to cricket. People swear all the time in football. So
but is that why can we excuse it with that line? Does that make it acceptable?
Yeah, I don't want to take the passion out of football.
What? Because you're not swearing, the passion goes.
I swear when I'm passionate.
Yeah, but you're not on the pitch.
I swear even more if I was on the pitch and somebody just kicked me in the leg.
I don't know, Ez, you look like you're disagreeing with him.
I'm massively disagreeing with it. I don't know why we have this notion that we can't tidy it up and we can't fix it, because rugby players aren't exactly snowflakes, are they? So, but if they can control it, and that's what leads to the respect for referees. It's like the chicken and egg.
Good point.
It's almost like the chicken and the egg. What comes first? Do you do this and then the respect?
What happens if somebody kicks you at the back of the ship on your car?
We're not talking about. No, we're not talking about you. Yeah, but we're not talking about you screaming because you've been kicked. We're talking about when you're talking to the referee, you're effing and blinding at him, and
They
you see it from the side of
they
the
shouldn't
pitch.
allow players to F and blind at the referee now.
That's the point.
As soon
That's
as
the
a
point.
player
Yeah.
goes,
And-
"Ref, you're effing this," it should be off. So I agree with you 100% on that.
yeah. So
Once
that's
they've got
the
this
point.
VAR decision right, where they can decide on it quicker and make the right decision, because with VAR, it's still human error, isn't it? Because when they go to check it, it's still a human that's making the error. Once all that gets digitized a little bit more, like maybe in some, like cricket and tennis, then they had a chip in the ball, didn't they, in the World Cup?
Yeah.
In that,
You might get
then
left
I
with-
think when the decisions are getting right, I think then you can talk about it. But at the minute, referees are still making some howling decisions, and the people that sit in the box looking at VAR.
Did you see that one? Did you see that one Newcastle against Arsenal where Gabriel was virtually rugby tackled and dragged down in the penalty box, and the referee didn't see it, which is fine. If there's players in the way, that's acceptable. But VAR didn't interfere because it said it wasn't a clear and obvious error by the referee because he didn't see it. Well, no, the clear and obvious error is he didn't see it. So they didn't give it. They saw it. They saw it. They knew it was a penalty. But
there was 5 VAR decisions this season that, we're still 8 Rams, there was 5 VAR decisions this season that got seen by an independent panel at the FA, and they said they were the wrong decisions. And one of them was Hendo when he bought I can't remember who it was he brought down, but he kind of brought him back. Well, that they actually said that shouldn't have been a penalty.
Yeah,
that was one of the 5.
It's interesting what the guys in the chat are saying. Bobby's saying the captain should be the only one approaching the ref. I agree with that, but I think it's hard to enforce. I think it's really hard to enforce. JP says, not a hope. The language out of the players have come across awful. The only reason I'm bringing this up is obviously we've had the Christmas break, and I've come back to my 12th side team as well. Yeah, I've been fitting that in. It's been a fun week. And the language coming out of the 12-year-old kids, they're saying words that I didn't know until I was like 17, 18.
Well,
and they're saying, and when you pull them up, and I pull them up when they're doing it, it's like, I heard Ronaldo. I'm not saying Ronaldo, it's just first name coming to my head. Well, that's how Ronaldo acts, So there is this role model thing that the footballers need to be aware of. And I see it in the grassroots. Go on.
Sorry, can I just reiterate my point about the referee doesn't have to have an open mic for 90 minutes. He only needs an open mic to convey information to the crowd. Yep. There's no other reason for him to have that mic.
We're just checking for this on a VAR decision, because sometimes they'll check for 2 things. We check for an offside and then a foul or something like that. And that would be good. And that's a good point to say we're just checking for this so people know.
Yeah, they do it in American football.
People say
in American football, they'll go number 4 offside, kick to the backers.
But when you watch on the TV, we've got the benefit of the commentators telling us what they're checking for because they've got an action replay. Whereas at the ground, got Scooby-Doo.
Do you know as well? The little fun fact, sorry, as I'll bring you in after this.
No, you're right.
Do you know the commentators hear the conversation going on between the ref and VAR? Yeah. Did you guys in the chat know that? You see, we teach something new here every day on FFTV. Sorry, Ez, you were going to say something.
Just one point at the stadium yesterday. They got 2 massive screens at either end of the stadium, and they didn't show any of the game on it. It was just pure advertising space. That's all they did, advertising for JD and various other
looking
sports
for
outlets.
a new striker.
That's all,
looking for a new manager.
I have to say,
that's all it was about.
I have to say, the game's on the screen at the Forest ground, and I don't think I've looked at it once. I look at the pitch. I don't think I've ever.
Occasionally, you do because you get to see the goal replay.
You're right. No, I agree with what you're saying, mate. I agree with what you're saying.
You get to see when you shinned it all.
Having them, and they're huge as well.
I remember when I went and watched the Man City game. Dino, you may have seen it as well when Hendo was picking the ball out of the net. There's a couple of times because there was a massive screen in the top corner. And I think it was like their 7th or 600th goal that Man City scored. I can't remember. Like Hendo was rewatching the replay to see how he could have done better, I assume, with it. And I don't know if I like that or I think it's distracting as a player, but he was properly watching it.
He had a bad back that game as well, didn't he, after that? Bending down to get the ball out of the net 6 times.
I'll tell you what the most ridiculous thing is. Every other sport, they show the reason for the decision.
Yeah.
Football, they won't. They won't show it on that screen, so nobody knows why they decide. It might say foul, it might say this, but it won't. You don't know who fouled whom or what you do. Sorry, but you've not seen it yourself. Every other sport, rugby, cricket, they all show that why that decision was made. In football, because we're all a bunch of animals apparently, and we'd all tear the stadium down if we didn't like what we saw. They don't show it us. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
all right,
let's just mention one more thing on VAR. I think it's a
go on,
good
and we're
thing.
going to respect Harold's wishes.
I think overall, I know I've heard some people knocking it, so not in this chat, on previous chats, and also some commentators on the TV. But I remember, goals just like 2 foot over the line that weren't given. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's still in its infancy, and I think it will improve year on year, and it'll be good. The decisions will be quicker, and the decisions will be more accurate.
Yeah, I agree. I actually like VAR, especially last summer at Wembley. But anyway,
maybe 2019 it was pretty good.
It's pretty damn good. All right, let's move on.
One more, promise.
Oh my God, you're turning into Anne. He's too close. Yeah, go on.
What was the one at Burton Albion? Well, they were advertising over the tunnel. Can you remember?
Dogs. Something about dogs.
That's it. That's all I wanted to know. There's no other reason. I just needed to know.
All right, let's bring it back on track and start talking Forest. I don't know when we start talking about Scarpa. I'm kind of itching to talk about him. Do we jump in with Scarpa, or should we talk about some other stuff?
Before we do, you need to get yourself in the middle, so you're in the middle Scarpa.
Yeah, Granddad Scarpa.
So you are the middle Scarpa. There you go.
Can I just say, just before you start on Scarpa, I'm just going to nip to the toilet, okay? No other reason.
Run out of
Are you serious? Yes. Just the name set you off, man. Just the name set him off. Guys in the chat, how are you feeling about Scarpa's debut yesterday? Get your thoughts in there. What?
Shouldn't we build up to a climax with Scarpa? I mean,
that's what Ez is doing right now.
You see, people, you say he's respectable one. Well, there you go.
I've just led them into a we're just going.
I was just going to mention the incident between Remo and Coops at the end because it's caused.
Can we talk about? Yeah, that's a good point because I haven't seen it. Yeah, I know you sent it to me, but I haven't seen it. I don't know if the guys in the chat have seen it. And there was this big thing made up, and a few people were bringing it up in the chat in the player ratings last night and saying, "Did you see Freuler slap Cooper or the other way around or whatever it is?" Can you just talk everyone through it, Anne? Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've just seen a video of it, and it does look really weird. I mean, basically, Coops has got his arm around Remo's neck like that as Remo's kind of turning away. And then Hendo comes across, and apparently he accidentally brushed Remo's face, and Remo kind of reacted as if it was Cooper, and he physically pushes him away like that. And it does look bad. It does look bad. Pushes him away and walks off. But what I've read since then is that it was because it was the Hendo thing that made him react. It's just like a quick reaction. And afterwards, they were laughing and joking and arm in arm and went to the fans together. So it looks like something, something over nothing. But it did look bad, but evidently it's one of those things that it's split second, So
is that how you took it, Dino? Because it was you actually, Dino, who raised it, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
You were saying there was this little incident going on.
Yeah.
That was quick.
That was quick.
We've not even started talking about him yet.
He's gone again. He's just gone. He's sorted, finished. He's back. Finished now. You're all right.
Sorry, go on, Dino.
I only saw that clip. Somebody said that afterwards they had a sort of bit of a laugh about it. I just think it was a misunderstanding. Cooper was trying to cuddle him. I didn't see the Henderson slap. I've not really been looking out for it. I just saw him sort of got his arm around his neck in a nice, well done way.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he didn't realise it was his gaffer or it was somebody else, and he just kind of pushed him away and didn't really look and started to walk off. But I just think I agree with Third Eye. I think it was just a misunderstanding.
Did you see it on the ground at the Grounders? Did you see the incident?
No,
IRL. So we're using the cool terms now.
No, I didn't IRL it. I saw it on what's the other alternative? I watched it online. But yeah, no, I didn't see it at the time. But my reading of it is that it was either because we can't tell how heavy the impact was, but you definitely see Dean Henderson's arm come around the back of Steve Cooper and hit Freuler's cheek. Now, whether it was a brush, so it's like thinking, is Cooper trying to kiss me, or if it was a proper jab in his face, we don't know. But that was what would have been what led to it, because they were hugging afterwards. I did see that bit. They were all, coming when they came towards coming
See
towards
if he gets dropped. See if he gets dropped. We'll soon find out.
All right. This is I should have put an 18 rating on this one as well. I had to do it on the video earlier. All right. Just quickly, Che Adams, the guys in the chat have spoken. 77% say no. 23% said yes. I'm closing that poll. I'd love to hear from the 23% that said yes. For no other reason than I just want to understand it. I think Phil's got a good point. Freuler having a bad game, stress, Hendo bored, doing nothing. It's probably Hendo looking some fun. It makes sense. Mark says it happened as players passed each other in a line and shaking hands, etc. As Cooper was congratulating Freuler, Hendo accidentally caught Freuler in the face with the glove.
Yeah.
I really want to watch it now. So anyway,
look on your WhatsApp; it's there.
I will, but I should have done it before, but I'm not gonna lie, I had a sneaky little nap before the stream.
Nap, yeah.
I was dreaming of Scarpini. Can we talk about Scarpini, please, man? I can't hold it in anymore. Can we talk about it? Can we talk about?
That's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, who wants to start us off?
Go on, one of you guys. Go on.
Go on, Dino.
Go on, Dino.
Absolutely top guys and girls, if there are any girls in there. It's the scouting team that got that over the line. My God. And I know everybody's moaning about 23 players, but actually when you look at it now and they're all knitting together a bit more and there's these pairs knitting up, it's the scouting network's done a great job, even though two of them lost the job. But whoever picked Scarpa out needs a bloody medal, because I'm about as excited, and I've been following Forest for 47 years now. It's the age of 7. And the only other time I've got really excited was when Collymore came. And I've got that same feeling about Scarpa, and nobody's done it in between. Yeah. Not your Hoy Donks or anyone else. Just Scarpa's given that same feeling. I think he's right. I'm very lucky to have him.
Yeah, remembering back to when we signed Collymore, because they talked about him the season that we got relegated, didn't they? And they just couldn't get the deal across the line. It was actually Brian Clough that wanted him, and obviously Frank Clark ended up actually signing him. But he was muted, and we, even though we didn't have all the technology we've got nowadays, we couldn't watch YouTube videos of it. We'd heard.
Well, I remember, ironically, that there was a thing he did a video of him, didn't it? Southend, of the season, of all his goals and stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw that on video, in with a wire.
Yeah, and so we were hyped up about him. But I got to agree with you, mate. But he's living up to the hype as well. Well, early days.
Just before we start to really get overexcited about Scott, I just got to bring this story up, because you brought it back to my childhood memories. Now, remember, I'm only 21, but back then, when I was, 7 or 8, you didn't have like transfer news on the internet. I don't know if anyone in the chat remembers this, right? But you used to have to call these stupid numbers that charged at like £1.50 a minute, yeah. And they were so bad. I remember saving up some pocket money one week. I saved some pocket money up. My parents wouldn't let me call it from the house line, so I remember in school I had to put it. It went like that, and the news was terrible, man. So kids, this time, I'm looking at the likes of Adam in the chat, things like that. Be thankful for what you got. We had to pay to hear.
Oh my, CFAX.
CFAX, isn't it? Old school.
If you missed the page on CFAX, you'd have to wait another 30 minutes.
Oh my God.
When I was a kid, I used to go on that line. I used to go on that line every day, and I got into a lot of trouble off mum and dad when the phone bill came through.
Club call. Oh my God.
I used to. Oh God, I'll tell you my little secret. So I used to work in have a weekend job, and I used to use the phone there because it's like I couldn't have a radio on, so I used to listen to the whole match until I got caught.
The business went bust.
We got your question. I see it's in there. We got visual Joker's question as well. Get your questions in there.
Yeah.
Get your thoughts as well on Scarpina and the performance, and we'll look ahead to Blackpool as well. All right, let's be serious and come back to Scarpina because I want to talk about him. I can't remember who'd already spoken about him.
You spoke
Dino,
to me.
you had. Obviously, it wasn't that exciting because I don't remember it. Ez, over to you. Scarpina in the flesh, fist pumping you from 30 yards away.
He was.
In
And
person.
if you watch the other video as well, I'm the one screaming at all the fans saying, "Oh, he's coming on, he's coming on!" But yeah, I was like a little kid, mate. I was such a little kid, mate, at the stadium, and as he was coming over. But you know what? He had a couple of moments in that game when you thought, "Wow." You just thought, "Wow," and we haven't had that this season. You know, we not too many occasions. Gibbs-White's probably any other player at times has got us off our feet, and he was just brilliant. Yeah, I'm just hoping for so much more from him. We'll get on to whether we expect to see him in these cup games, but I just wanted to, you guys kind of have a comment each on games coming up. Ant said he would rather not have him, and Dino's probably, my thinking is, if you remember back to the amazing run we went on, which ultimately got us promoted, a catalyst of that was that cup run last season, and I think we've got we've got an amazing opportunity to get into a semi-final of the League Cup and to get, you know, a progress in the FA Cup as well. I think it would really help us build up this little momentum. So just to, a little segue into that, just to respond to that from earlier. I
don't know, and you said you don't care about the Cubs. Ez is alluding to he does care about the Cubs. Dino, where are you sitting on this? In fact, I'll poll it as well while you answer it. I want to know if the chat care or not. Are you set on both Cubs, Dino?
I'm just any games that you win breeds a winning mentality. And I think just getting far in the cup will actually galvanize the guys. And I think it's certainly helped, you know, more games as well to knit them together, because it's all right having training knitting together, but you need games. I would, you know, going back to Scarpa, I wouldn't necessarily risk him against Blackpool. I'd have him on the bench as an emergency. But we need to be playing him in our best matches, our Premier League matches.
Agreed.
At this stage,
I agree with everything about you know, helping the team to gel, winning mentality, and all that. It's simply that I just can't wait to get back to the Premier League. I just want to get back to the Premier League. I was thinking earlier today, bloody hell, if Brees has not saved those penalties in that game against Sheffield United, we'd be thinking about going to Stoke or somewhere next week. You know what I mean?
Can we use a different example than Stoke? I'm so sick of hearing Stoke as the example, man.
All right, and I can't remember any other QPR. I can't remember any other championships. Gone.
Reading.
Oh, what a dump, man. I used to live
I
near
was
them.
going to say Bournemouth, but then I remember they're in the Premier League for some reason. But
Not for long, mate. Not for long.
But on the flip side, if we are playing Scarpa, then I think the other players will be confident, and you could see them making runs last night when Scarpa got the ball. You know, that because they knew he'd control it and pass it perfectly back in front of them, like you did. I don't know if the guys at the chat have seen the video today that Wolverine put out, but it's like a tactics video. It covers all the tactics and some great stuff in there. Plus chat, there is also a couple of clips out there that people have clipped every single move that Scarpa made in last night's game, so you can see everything that he did, and that's pretty good to watch because you get it all in together there. So that's also on YouTube, worth a look.
Have you seen that little short of Scarpa and Loddy together on the pitch afterwards? Forest.
Yes, and that's on our channel.
It's one of ours. It's one of ours.
I know I'd seen it somewhere.
All right,
you guys in the chat haven't seen it.
This shows I watch them.
That's good to know. Spacebar says to the panel, do you try and sign Henderson in the window, seeing as he's isn't going back to Manchester United? Yes or no? Ez, yes or no on that one?
Yes, if it frees up
he's asking in this window. He's asking in this window.
Yeah, if it frees up a loan space and we can get the deal done, I would definitely. I wouldn't wait till the end of the season, and I would if it's possible.
Dino?
Yeah.
Yes.
No hesitation.
No hesitation.
And
It depends if it impacts the other signings we can make. If it means we've got 20 million less to spend on somebody we need, then I'd say no, we'll leave it to the end of the season. If it doesn't impact our budget, then of course.
So you're sitting on the fence. Cool. Guys in the
No,
chat, don't sit on
I'm
Yes, you are. Yes,
I'm
you
making a
are.
logical and sensible statement.
No, you're not. It's like saying if the weather outside tomorrow is going to be sunny, then I won't wear a jacket. If it is going to be cold, then I will wear a jacket. Yeah. Have some
What's
balls
wrong
and
with
step
that?
outside in a t-shirt, mate.
So what you do is you say I'm going to wear my big coat tomorrow, no matter what the weather is. Then
Mate, I'm going in my sleeveless vest, no matter what the weather is. Show the guns off. Yeah, that's the one. Hey, guys in the chat, yes or no? Would you sign Hendo in this window? I get what you're saying, and I get what you guys are saying. I just don't think we need to, because do we really want more loan players coming in? The experience we had with loan players last season was fantastic, but this season it's been hit and miss, hasn't it? Because obviously Bardet's now gone to Sevilla. Hendo's on loan, but we don't have. The thing that annoys me about the Hendo deal is we don't have a loan to buy option on him. So if he carries on playing well, Man United could up the price. I don't think they can, because he's made it quite clear they don't want him to go. And just something to add, there's been these rumors going around on Twitter about Hendo and Manchester United recalling him back because De Gea's contract is about to run out. It's all rubbish. Man U are most likely going to get, what's the guy called? Summer, isn't it? Sumer. I don't know how you pronounce it. The Swiss guy. Yeah.
I heard
so
Jack
Hendo
Butland
is going to be available. Gunners?
Sorry, I heard Jack Butland linked with them as well as a possible backup. So they are elsewhere. They'd be foolish not to, because he doesn't want to go back there, and you don't want to play a there that doesn't want to be part of it.
They won't have him back. They
might play hardball on the cash, and they might just stick him in the reserves rotting away. So
I think it could happen.
Better off getting him earlier than, honestly, if we can afford it, if it's in the budget.
Would you? I want to take this one step further, though. Would you sign another keeper as a reserve keeper, or are you still quite happy with Hennessy? Because he was a little dodgy against Man U.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Hennessy. He's not good in the air. He punches a lot. He punches everything pretty much.
We have got one though, haven't we? We just haven't ever seen him.
I'd be worried if Hendo got a long-term injury. But goalkeepers aren't often injured for that long, are they? Because of what they do.
With Forest, anything can happen. No.
This is true.
But Ezra's right. Ezra's right. We've got Horvath. I mean, he's our player.
There's Horvath yet to come, still to come back. And
he did well when he came in.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's got such a cool name as well, Horvath. Sorry.
18 rated again.
Well, you started it with your picture of Kylie in the background.
I thought I started it with my picture, mate. I thought that's what triggered it all off. Yeah. All right, anyway, let's get back onto the match and get back on track, because we haven't heard Ant's thoughts on Scarpina.
I'd say that,
yeah. And I've been dying to have a chat with Ant about Scarpina, because let's face it, right? I don't know about you, Ant, but when he came on yesterday, I felt like my son was going onto the pitch after the big up we've given him for the last 3 months, after, fighting tooth and nail, after I kicked off that he didn't start yesterday. Yeah. I just felt a little bit scared. How were you feeling when he came on yesterday?
Yeah, exactly the same. I was kind of thinking, please, even if you never play well again, play well tonight. Don't make us look like total,
felons.
Yeah. And thankfully, oh man, those passes, the one down the left to Loddy and the one that he whipped in and curved and slowed down to Brennan. I've not seen that all season. We have to play him as much as feasible, because he's just different class. I can't believe that we got him for free and nobody else kind of knew about him, or if they did, they didn't bother. They're bringing all these other players for these ridiculous sums of money, and yet we've got somebody like that certainly so far appears to be everything we dreamt he'd be. I love the guy. I tell you, I love the guy.
What was it that most impressed you about him from watching him yesterday?
Well,
Apart
from
from his
watching,
looks,
from watching him yesterday, I would have said those passes were scintillating. But I have to say, watching your video today made me appreciate the fact that he's one of those players, and as you quite rightly put it, the best players in the world find space, and that's something he does. And obviously, I was caught up in the match, so it passed me by. I just looked at the brilliance, but having watched that, I thought, that shows quality, that shows class to find that space wherever he is on the pitch, and that's a wonderful attribute. It gives him the time then to look up. And I've always said to you, haven't I? Midfielders half turn, that's where they're good. And the fact that he can look up and he knows the picture straight away is massive. We've had a pretty rough time over the past 20 odd years, and even before that. But I've seen Forest sign some fantastic players. But the only player that I was excited about this was when we signed Trevor Francis. That's the only other player in my lifetime that I was, Stan Collymore, brilliant player, but he was at Southend. You never know. He was in the second division, no big deal. This guy is just exciting. Brazilian Player of the Year is exciting.
You want to jump in there?
I just want to touch on that point also, because whilst you were away, and both me and Dino were saying we had very similar feelings about Stan Collymore, because if you remember, we were linked with him the season we went down, and then didn't actually get him. So it was either actually Brian Clough who was initially.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but going back to the Scarpa making space, and also those type of players, and similar to your GOAT Wolverine, Zidane, they look like they've got so much time on the ball as well. It looks like it's in slow motion when they've got it, and it doesn't look like they're rushing their movements, their passes. The top players do that. And touching on what Dino said earlier, how nobody else spotted him, or if they did, they didn't get him, is testament to
ridiculous.
how well we did in scouting him in the first place.
I'd love to know who identified him and recommended him. I'd love to know who that was. He's very much like a young Jack Callback, isn't he?
Hey, we're not talking about Jack. Jack was all right yesterday. Jack did his job.
Wolverine. I like his first.
I don't know how he did.
Immaculate.
Say that again, Dino.
His first touch and his vision is immaculate.
It is ridiculous, isn't it?
Both feet as well, equal.
Oh, it's fantastic. I've just got to touch on. I know I mentioned it in the video, and I went on about it in the video, but the way he looks around before he receives the ball is in an elite level of skills that only certain players have. And I think it was, it might have been Bobby or it might have been Boris in the comments that were saying it's like he takes a mental picture in a flash. He looks to the left, assesses where everyone is. Yeah, it's even in that move where he lays it off to Lodi. He's looked across. He knows Lodi is running. He's almost like calculated where Lodi's going to be on the pitch when he's going to get the ball and he's going to pass it through. But it was the way he lost the defenders as well. I honestly haven't seen that with Forest players this season, because it's no discredit to them, but it's an elite level footballer who can find space in really crowded pitches. Yeah. And he was doing that yesterday over and over again. And every pass, I mean, I sat there. That video did take me hours to do. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it, especially the X-rated bit at the end. But it's pretty much every pass before he receives it, he's having a look around, seeing who's going. And the point you made, Ant, earlier about suddenly you saw Lodi, as soon as he gave it to Scarpina, he's making the overlap straight away. Yeah, you saw Aurier. I had it on the video. As soon as he sees Scarpina's got the ball, he's making the run. And he's just this is why I wanted him to start yesterday. He's gonna be that catalyst that triggers all these movements off him. And what you're gonna see is Forest could overnight turn into an attacking team. You know, anyway, that's
we're just waiting for Scarpina to give it to Lodi to put it to top corner net and see the headlines. Forest boys from Brazil. It's got to happen, hasn't it?
It's happening. It's happening. Yeah. I've got to say though, Ez, I want to ask you this. There's been a lot of crap talked about benching, and guys in the chat, I've got to ask you this again. And people are still saying, even after yesterday's performance, he needs to work his way into the team. Yeah. What side of that debate are you, Ez? Chuck him in, or do you still think he needs to get up to pace of the Premier League, up to the pace of English football? Where are you on this one?
For the next league game, I'd like him to be starting. These cup games are going to be hit and miss. I don't think I want him playing against starting against the agricultural team like Blackpool, to be honest. And we're away as well, aren't we? We're
away, yeah.
And yeah, on that sandy. I mean, he's a Brazilian, so we love playing on the beach. So he might be yoga football for him.
It's just like the Copacabana at Blackpool.
Exactly, right, mind him of that. We'll save all this banter for tomorrow, hopefully, for our guests. But I'd be less tempted to start him against Blackpool and more tempted to start him against Wolves, hoping to give him a full game against Leicester. That's where I'm looking for, because the impact he'll make. One of the comments that I had from a lovely lad called James at the end of the game was to say that he thinks he's going to be the catalyst for Forest to push up the league, and I got to agree with him, and we're all hopeful of it. And let's just hope we're not putting too much pressure on him, but I don't believe we are. I think what your analysis showed today is that he's a higher level player, and we've got a higher level player. So let's just hope that we can get the best out of him, and he can get the best out of the players around him.
Yeah. Go on, Dino. I was going to ask you anyway, but go on.
I was going to say, I'm hoping that, I mean, we're talking about players long gone, you know, for the younger people in the chat, and the younger people that are watching this view. They've not really, I mean, they've had people to look up to like MGW and, you know, a few others, Jono.
Lolly, yeah.
But they've not really known a great player at the City Ground, you know, at a certain age. And I'm excited for them, because this will be their first, hopefully, great player that they can kind of idolize and remember for life.
Yeah. I hope so. You know, the only thing that frustrates me about Scarpa is his age. I just think, imagine we'd picked him up like when he was 24, 25.
He's got 5 years. He's got 5 years.
He's got a few years left in him. But saying that, this is when he's hit the peak of his career. And the last few years, consecutively, he's hit a streak of form. And last season was his most productive season in his career. So maybe we've got him right at the right time, you know.
Yeah.
And
if I agree.
If he was younger, 23, for example, he'd be with us for the rest of the season. Then one of the big boys with all the money would come in and take him. Being this age,
do you fear that happening? And do you fear he lights up the Premier League in the second half of the season, and Man City come knocking and saying, "Here you go, 300 million for him"?
Yeah, no, we've just got to. Sorry, Anne, you go. Sorry.
So no, I was just going to say, because of his age, that works in our favour. I mean, he's 29 today, isn't he? So he's going to be 30. He's going to be 30 next year. So the big boys are less likely to come in.
Good maths there, Anne. Well done.
And I didn't get where I am today with that anyway. And also, he just seems to have taken to the City, and I think that's a big thing. You know, if he settles in well, I think he's more like, and gets the love from the fans, I think he's probably going to be happy to stay here. The one thing I would say about playing him, the one thing I would say about playing in the cup is that he should 100% start in the game against Wolves. And it's got nothing to the fact that I've got a ticket for the Wolves game today. That's just incidental.
I was going to say, if we're going to stop the big clubs from poaching him at the end of the season, then we need to destroy all their skate parks.
That will stop it. That will stop it.
And build a dedicated skateboard in Nottingham for Scarpa.
The Scarpa Skateboard Centre.
Great.
All right. Shut up. We're gonna get really tough now. Before we do, there's like nearly 150 of you in here. Thank you for joining us tonight in the extension of the party. 49 likes. One more person hit the like button, please, so we get to 50. We should be at 100, but I'm too happy to give you guys the telling off. Dean, what?
I can do that. I've just liked it.
Oh, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Anyway, Dino, you said Scarpa, you would start him, yes?
Not against Blackpool.
Leicester. I'm talking Leicester.
Right,
yeah?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Now, let's do what we do best on this channel, on FFTV. Let's ask the real hard questions. Who you dropping? Guys in the chat, same question to you. You don't get to sit there and get away with not answering the hard questions. I'm buying
I'd
Dino
probably
some time here.
Drop Jono.
Jono.
But Scarpa can also play midfield, but I'd drop Jono.
Why Jono?
I think he's been a little bit hit and miss. He's in and out of games. He's obviously got a lot of pace. He needs a bit more composure. He's still young. He's still learning. Don't forget, a couple of years back he was playing for Lincoln on loan. So it's been a big step for him, and I don't think there's anything wrong with sitting him out. Now and I think he's already proved that Awoniyi can be moved from the middle to the left. So I think those players are interchangeable. And you and I have discussed this week about maybe playing Jono on the left, putting inside, because I think he'd finish more shots rather than what he does, and he tends to drift wide when he's on the right. So I think those are all interchangeable there.
Interesting. Okay.
For that game, I'd drop Jono.
Oh, Mike, can you bring up the chat's answers for that question? Who would you drop if you are on the boat of Scarpa starts? Who are you dropping out the team? Who do we want to screw? Who wants to go next out of you two? I'll give you both the choice. Oh, Ez is eager. Ez has got his idea.
I'm up. We're talking about specifically against facing Leicester at home, yeah?
I'm talking like looking ahead. You're saying you want him to start, yeah? Yeah. I mean, look at that face, yeah? Who you dropping for him? Not specifically for Leicester, but in make it generalistic. Is that the word? Have I said it right?
I think for what I'm looking to do, the Leicester game and potentially the Wolves game are where I'd start it, and I would drop one of our central midfielders and actually go 4-2-3-1 and have our most attacking players feeding our number 9. We've got to be more positive at home. We 100% have to be more. And if we can't be more positive against Leicester and give them the beating to get back at what they did to us earlier, because we went there with no confidence and they absolutely ripped it apart. I want to do the same back to them. And there's no way I'd accept a first half like we saw against Chelsea, against Leicester a week on Saturday or a week on Sunday whenever we play them. I would go for the jugular and drop a midfielder. And that would be, for me, would be Yatesy. I'd drop Yatesy and go 4-2-3-1.
Big call.
Yep. I'd go 4-2-3-1 and have Mangala and Freuler, or Mangala and O'Brien, which we have seen work as a pairing as a number 2 in front of a back 4.
We're going to talk about O'Brien. We're definitely going to talk about him. And you're a massive Yates fan, mate. You're a massive Yates fan, but
I think he's been fantastic.
Lemmy's comment. Yeah, bring that up.
Sorry,
I mean, that's what I would do, but that's not what Cooper's going to do, I don't think. Because I don't think he'll play Taiwo up front.
Just shout it out for the guys.
That's perfect. That's the 4-2-3-1 at home.
Yeah, dropping Lemmy would drop Freuler where I'd drop Yatesy. Yeah, but
I've got nothing against Jono, but it's a difficult decision who to drop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have to be more positive. We have to be more positive at home.
And get your answer ready, because I'm coming to you in a second. But Ez, you're not getting off that lightly, okay?
No, that's what I've said. I'm dropping Yatesy.
All right, okay. I know, but in a 4-3-3, who you dropping?
I'm not playing a 4-3-3. Don't force me. Look, Jono took some criticism yesterday, but he had some moments last night.
He was good. He was good.
Yeah, but he still took some. He still seems to be getting some flack from a portion of the fans. But I thought, obviously, he had the game-winning moment and he made the right decision. And if you watch it, he did a post-match interview after that Chelsea game, and he talked about it then and there, saying I understand, I made the right decision, and it's something I can improve on. And if we see that improvement in the very next game, we can't be anything but happy about that. So I wouldn't really want to drop Jono. I wouldn't want to drop Morgan Gibbs-White unless he's carrying some sort of injury. And then we can touch on Taiwo as well, because it did come off. I saw the incident that led to him coming off, and it definitely looked like it was a groin strain that he caused. And it was when he had that ricochet with a goalkeeper and it bounced off him and it gone anywhere. That's when he got the injury. It was right in front of us, and he was definitely walking off holding his groin. And hopefully that's nothing major. And by the time we get to the next league game, he'll be up and running. But I wouldn't want to drop him. he's deserved to stay in the team over his performances the last few games. So we wouldn't want to drop Taiwo. MG Dub, again, even though it wasn't his most influential game yesterday, he can have a moment of brilliance that can change a game. I just want our most creative players on the pitch going forward. Go on,
Can I just ask you, because Crazy Days has said Lingard, yeah, everyone's suddenly forgotten about Lingard. Let's move on to Ant with this question. You're still going to answer the question, Ant, yeah? But where does Lingard fit into this as well? So answer the question first on who you would drop, because you're not backing out on our boy. Obviously, you're starting him, yeah? I'm taking you from that position there.
Well,
Who you dropping for him?
Well, for me, it's quite simple. You drop Brennan Johnson. It's not a question. That's where Scarpa is most effective. So you play your best players in the most effective positions. You don't mess about with the formation. You don't move players in and out of different positions. You play your best players in the best positions. And I think that is Jono's. People get these things into head that if you say, oh, drop him, it means you hate that player or you think that player is not very good. That's not the case. I think Jono's magnificent. But he's grown into the Premier League, but he's a young boy. He's 21 years old. He can afford to have a couple of minutes on the bench now and again. It's not a big deal. So drop Jono, bring Scarpa on. If Scarpa, or later on in the game, we need to move Scarpa over, say, you know, MG is getting tired or whatever, you can move Scarpa over and bring Jono on. And what a fantastic substitute to have to bring on for the last 20, 30 minutes with his pace against tired defenders. One of the problems with Jono this season is he has been running about a lot. And by the time it gets to 70 minutes, he's too knackered to do anything against the slower players.
Dino,
I know this is a bit fancy, but would you play Scarpa in a free role?
I just, as long as he's on the pitch, I don't care if he's playing in goal.
I mean, what does the chat think to that? You know, just a roaming.
I do like that idea, Dino.
Because he has tried it. You're right, Dino. You are right. He has tried it where he's rotated MG Dub, Brennan.
But if you play him in a free role, you've still got to drop somebody. We can't have 12 men on the pitch, so you still got to drop.
Yeah, but he does get back and he does put a tackle in. You saw that yesterday. So maybe you do drop one. I can't remember who said it earlier. Just maybe drop one of the midfielders.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It's tough.
I won't drop Yates though. I'd probably drop Freuler.
I don't know.
What about you then, Wolverine? Who are you going to drop?
Jono. For me, it's Jono. Look, Jono has had real good sparks in the last couple of games. Very good against Blackburn. I thought he was poor against Man U. And I think he made mistakes against Chelsea, not squaring the ball across. But yesterday, I saw him rectify his mistakes by learning from it, which is fantastic to see. But
missing an open goal.
Huh?
And missing a virtual open goal.
Yeah, and that for me, but that's still a learning thing. Look, I'm not going to ever be... Huh?
It is a learning thing. Absolutely. Like I say, he's a young boy. We need to be patient with him.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm not going to be very critical on Jono this season because he needs to learn the Premier League. But I will be critical if he's used game in, game out from management, because that's not developing him. That's putting too much pressure and too much weight on his shoulders. At that age, you don't do that unless you bring in a superstar in. If you look at, I'm trying to think of some youngsters in the Premier League, even Phil Foden, at Man City. Everyone knew he was a superstar.
2 years,
but you don't. You don't see Pep playing him from the moment they figured out he was a superstar, game in, game out. They bled him, and some would argue maybe too slow. But you look at his performances now, and I think that's the progress Jono should be. That's the path, should I say, Jono should be going down. So by saying, as you mentioned, Jono being dropped, it doesn't mean I hate him. It just means I think it would help his development more by him learning from Scarpini. I mean, he's got the master there to teach him.
No, it's a fair point, because maybe there hasn't been a competition in Jono's position to be able to drop him, and now there is a chance to give him a rest and let him watch a better play. There's a lot of pros and cons to everything, but my point is, I think now we need to be more confident. I think we need to be more front-footed, especially against teams in and around us. Maybe when you're playing against, Arsenal at home, you switch to your 4-3-3 and be a bit more pragmatic in your approach. But against teams like Arsenal, against teams like Leicester and Wolves in a cup, I would want to see us be more on the front foot. And I just believe that dropping a central midfielder and giving our three most creative players a chance to create chances for Awoniyi who he took his chance very well yesterday. You know, whatever it was probably as clean a strike as he's had all season. But his strike rate, if something, can just go back to a point earlier that we made about Shea Adams and how many goals he scored. But how many of those goals have got him points? The goals that Taiwo Awoniyi, I'm thinking off the top of my head, you know, they won us games. They won us 3 points against Liverpool. It won us 3 points against West Ham, didn't he? You know, and same with Gibbs-white. So our goals, we're not in the double figures or anywhere close, but they've been key goals at the right time. So I'd take that over a 20-goal a season striker who doesn't win you enough points. So, yeah.
Can I just make a quick point?
One second. Before you jump in, Choco Block, about the Ronnie Rosenthal. I just had a flashback. Do you remember Steve Stone? Was it against Reading? Oh my god!
Yes. Oh, that was it. Yeah.
I've ever seen, and I love Stoney.
Collymore had one of the worst I've ever seen, and he was literally under the under the goalpost, and he skied it over. That's one of the worst ones if you remember back to that. So we had a few, but Ronnie Rosenthal, I remember that yesterday. Yeah,
I remember when Stevie Stone missed out, and I went on the pitch afterwards, and I stood there and I said, "It's impossible to miss from here." I stood on the spot on the pitch where the goal was massive. You know, it's like, how can you miss from there? What I was going to make is that the word drop has a negative connotation, because it's in the old days when you dropped a player because he was not doing well and he was out of the squad as one sub out of the squad. It's more of a rotation thing now than dropping, you know. And that's a small point, but as soon as you say drop, people think you're being negative. No, you're just rotating and giving other players a chance and keeping 100%. That player fresh, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. JP, I do agree with you. The idea of Jono running onto a Scarpini ball for me is just, but it will happen. It will happen. There'll be times where Jono's on the pitch with Scarpini, you know, we'll have injuries and so on. So I want to talk about.
I don't know about you, Wolverine, but I'd be comfortable. Like if MGW needed a rest, I'd be comfortable with having Scarpa in that cam position.
Oh yeah,
available. You know,
but even with Gibbs-white on the pitch, I'd be comfortable with Gibbs-white playing the false 9, and he's got Scarpini and Johnson either side of him, because I don't think
basically we'd be comfortable no matter where he played.
But we can't see Dennis getting back in if the rumours are true and he's on his way. Lingard could be out for a while, but I think he's down the pecking order now. So what would be your front three? If you say one is not available, who would be your front three? And I'd have Jono, Gibbs-white, and Scarpa for me. Okay. And they can all play those positions.
I want to move on slightly. Dino, I want to bring you in here. Yeah. Where does Lingard fit into this whole story? Because he's kind of been forgotten about, hasn't he? I mean, I've held my position
firm.
We've got
a shiny new toy, haven't we? Yeah, we've got a shiny new toy.
It's very shiny.
And the thing is, I've not been Lingard's biggest fan. I tried to be patient, but
you were turning towards him, to be fair to you. You were turning a little bit.
Yeah, but you try and support every Forest player, don't you, at the end of the day, as a supporter?
Yeah.
As soon as you pull on the red shirt, they're part of your club. But for me, you know, people have said, oh, you know, he's injury, he's not played for a year. I saw him in pre-season. He played in pre-season, so he's had enough time. And then Lingard Scarpa pops over. I know he's had a full season in Brazil, but he pops over. He's skating around Nottingham. He piles on the pitch for a couple of cameo appearances, one in a friendly and one last night. And he's bloody done more in those minutes than Lingard's done in all of his minutes. And Lingard must look at him, and I don't know whether it will lift Lingard or whether it will make Lingard sort of go out of the club, really. But if I was Lingard, I'd be looking, going, that should have been me. I should be doing stuff like that. I've got the pedigree. I mean, my own honest feeling is that, you know, he couldn't lace up Scarpa's boots personally. I don't think he's that talented. I think Scarpa's just another level. But...
And whatever the situation with Lingard, he's not a long-term solution, is he? I'd be very surprised if we extend him beyond the end of this season, whatever division we're in. So it's not. He's had the opportunity. He really has been given plenty of time and plenty of opportunity. And Cooper's defended him to the hilt. And I think he's like I say, I do think he's further down on the pecking order. And he'll have to fight his way back in, because we bring in better players to have competition there. And if these better players do the business. They keep their shirt. It's as simple as that.
And you've been very pragmatic about Lingard. You know, you've gone up and down with him.
No, I've always said I think he's a very talented player. Obviously, he's not displayed what we wanted to earlier in the season for whatever reason. We don't know those reasons. I mentioned before he could be having issues, you know. So, but certainly in the last couple of games before he got injured, he was starting to show a little something. And maybe with Scarpa being there, that will raise his game. And I think that there's every chance that come the last 10 games, 15 games of the season, Lingard could have a part to play. Somebody gets injured or whatever, and he could be vital to us. And he's a talented player. So just give him a break. At the end of the season, look, he's likely to be gone. So while we've got him, let's see if we can get the best out of him. And if we can get the best out of him, it can be a valuable contributor, in my opinion.
It is interesting, me, and I got to call the chat out at the moment because a lot of them are going anti-Lingard. I'm not saying anti-Lingard as in personally, but in terms of playing. But when he was scoring against Spurs and then in the other two games as well, they were all turning. So, you know, you're free to all change your opinions as many times as you want. And that's what I love to see. I just love to see the different opinions coming in. Ez, I want to ask you about O'Brien. And guys in the chat, get your thoughts in O'Brien. I would say arguably for the first fight. Go on. What?
No, I was just going to say that's something that came up. All these tossers at TalkSport and Sky Sports and that saying, Lingard, why didn't he go to West Ham? Can I just point to where West Ham are in the league, by the way?
Mind the gap. Mind the gap. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, yeah, O'Brien. I would say arguably, and I don't think many could really argue with me over the first 5 to 7 games. He was our best player. He was a shining light in the team. And he was really holding that midfield together. And remember, a lot of those games were played as a midfield too, while we were playing the stupid 3-back formation. What has happened to him? Why has he gone so far down the pecking order? And yesterday, he wasn't even on the bench, and callback is getting in ahead of him. What were your thoughts on this whole O'Brien situation? Guys in the chat, I want to know what you think of O'Brien. Do you still love him, or do you think... I mean, I had this crazy theory this morning. I think Cooper's trying to get rid of him to free up the number 14 shirt for Scarpina. Now, if that's the case, I'm fine. Like, I love O'Brien, but give Scarpa his 14. But I don't know, joking aside, what do you think's going on there?
I agree with you about the first half a dozen or so games in the Premier League. He was probably, we would have agreed, first name on the team sheet.
Yeah.
But what has happened in that time? He's had his niggly injuries. There might be something going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to, and I don't want to be here speculating, but he's definitely fallen out of favour at the moment. But callback was probably the better choice for yesterday, and he did his job. He did a very good job.
Over O'Brien? Oh, wait. Over O'Brien?
Yeah, I think for what the role that he wanted him to play, I think that suited callback more than it suited O'Brien yesterday.
No way, man.
We can do it. That's what we're here for. We're here to give our opinions. From what I saw, callback did a very good job yesterday. He wasn't caught. He was the right player to bring in for that role. Now, Brian's situation, I think there is something more to it, and it's not just a case of Cooper favouring callback above O'Brien, because if he's not getting into squad, there's something more potentially that could be behind the scenes. We don't know. There's a lot that is starting to take shape from the 23 or so, 24 players we brought in. There's signs now that some of them maybe weren't Cooper's choice. Maybe they weren't on his. Well, I mean, it's everyone's got their own opinion, but from what I saw yesterday, I'm gonna say that he did the job, and we ended up getting 3 points out of that game, and that's all that mattered.
All right, Ez, though, are you telling me that O'Brien couldn't have done that job yesterday? Okay, I'll just say if not the same as callback or better.
No, not that role. No.
Against Southampton, mate.
Not on his current form. No, we got to go on form. You know, if it was the O'Brien from the first half a dozen games,
Well, you're saying O'Brien's been bad lately. Are you saying he hasn't been great?
Yeah, I think when he's come on, he hasn't impressed me. Has he impressed any of you guys? When he okay, yeah, sometimes it's been a couple of minutes at the end or 5-10 minutes at the end, but has he made a difference? I think he's made a couple of mistakes when he's come on. So there's something not right. He's not the composed O'Brien that we had on in that.
But he was getting starts then, wasn't he? I think that's the difference.
But, yeah, Dino, jump in on this. I'd be interested in your opinion on this.
That should affect him. No, go on.
He was getting starts then. He's a bit of a all over the place terrier, isn't he? He's a sort of souped up callback, and he's a little bit more similar to Yates, I think, than the other two in midfield, Mangala and Freuler. So I think it's either him or Yates plays for me. But if you're sitting on the bench, warming the bench constantly, and he's bringing on callback instead of you, then when he does come back in, he's going to make mistakes because he's not up to speed match. It's all right. You could do all the training in the world if you've ever played football, but when you start running around 90 minutes at full pelt, full game situation, cramps start setting in at 70 minutes and stuff like that. He's going to make mistakes.
It might be a similar criticism that I've got had of Dennis if he doesn't start a game, you don't want him coming on because he just makes no impact. And O'Brien might be a similar situation there. And
I fully disagree. I think back to Fulham. Think back to the Fulham match. And when he came on, how he changed the game. I would argue further that you'll correct me if I'm wrong, he's the only person I can think of as a sub who's come on and made an impact. Yes, we didn't go on and win that, but we scored a bloody goal. I can't think of a major impact subs changes this season that have come on and changed the game. Guys in the chat, I've just put a quick poll up. O'Brien or callback? I don't think there should be a debate. And looking at the voting now, it doesn't look like it. But Anne, where are you sitting on this?
Well, I was absolutely staggered at how good O'Brien was when he came in at the beginning of the season. I didn't realise he was as good as that. He is obviously a better footballer than Jack Callback. However, I agree with Ez. Callback came on yesterday and he was superb at what he did. He was covering, challenging everywhere. Not saying O'Brien can't do that, but don't knock Jack Callback just because you prefer O'Brien. O'Brien wasn't in the squad. He couldn't play. We don't know why. There may be reasons. We don't know why. He wasn't there. So we brought Callback on and he did a bloody good job. So in that instance, Jack was perfectly suitable to come on. However...
Yeah, but Anne, just on that is actually more worrying that he wasn't in the squad because there have been no talks of injuries about him.
We don't know, do we? We don't know.
Yeah, but there's been nothing. Even today, I don't know. Dino, have you heard anything on an injury with him? No, and that worries me more than him being on the bench and Callback being selected ahead of him. This is him being dropped from the squad.
Yeah, but we don't know, so it's pointless speculating. What I would say is you're absolutely right. When O'Brien came on against Fulham, he was superb. But in that game, we were going for a goal. In this game last night, we were trying to stop them scoring a goal. It's a different scenario entirely. That's like bringing a strike on and saying he scored, Well, yeah, but if you defend it, it's not going to happen.
Trevor Francis said the same thing.
Yeah, and don't forget how poor we were in that Fulham game. You'd hope that your subs make a difference in that game. We were awful. We let our heads drop and we capitulated against a team that were in and around us at the time, but not now, But
I've just got to add the point. Southampton are a championship team. I'm sorry if I don't care if I offend any Southampton fans by saying that. They'd probably agree with me, to be honest. Would you still trust Callback to do it again? Say we were. Who's a big match coming up? We've got Man City in a few weeks. Yeah, let's imagine now it's a nice sunny afternoon. We're 1-0 up, 10 minutes to go. Would you bring Callback on? I said, let's imagine, right? Would you bring Callback on, would you bring Callback on or O'Brien to shore up that midfield?
If we were defending for our lives,
1-0, 10 minutes to go.
I'd bring Callback on.
The subs board comes up. Do you want to see the number 8 or 14?
8.
Dino?
Sorry, Wolverine. I agree with Ant. If you're defending a lead, I think he's better in the tackle. He doesn't wander so much.
Ez?
Yeah, I've got to agree based on yesterday's performance.
I bet you wish you'd not asked that question now, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm sure you guys are doing the whole Lingard thing again here, man. You're doing Lingard scored a goal. You're seeing callback playing against Southampton.
We
and
were
it's
losing
seeing-
before. We were losing games.
Horses for
Callback
courses.
Just because you don't like the answers, don't change the question.
I'm
Yeah.
arguing
Exactly.
it back, man. I'm arguing it back.
You painted a scenario, and three of us
You're
have agreed.
sulking. That's what you're doing. You're sulking, mate. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's called arguing back. I don't see it. I don't think he's prime quality. Like, I've got nothing against the guy. He scored that great goal, obviously, against West Brom last season. He did a good job covering at left back, yeah. But I'm being more pragmatic about the task ahead of us.
Mhm.
I don't mind him coming on against the Southampton, yeah. But at Man City, I'm putting O'Brien in every day of the week. I don't know. Maybe I'm in a minority here. I don't know. Well, clearly on the panel I am.
You are.
And if you're Cooper, you're going to play him as a number 10. You know, what's the point? If you're not going to play him in the right position, there's no point in bringing O'Brien on anyway. You know, but horses for courses, mate. It has to be a season. You said it so
He's a
many
decent
times.
squad player for certain situations, and that situation you've painted there is the situation for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't get me wrong.
to your
In
opinion.
comparison, the game against Bournemouth.
But you're wrong.
Sorry, let me just say the game against Bournemouth. I was fuming that he brought Cole back on before O'Brien because that was the game we were chasing. And
I
didn't
was
think
screaming.
that
I
the
was
right
screaming.
subject.
We were screaming for
Yeah.
O'Brien, weren't we? And when we saw Jack up there, with,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
what? But like you say, different
Is that
scenario.
callback?
Yeah. Where's O'Brien? But like
lot
you
of
say, different
flip-floppers,
scenario.
man.
No,
And
I'm
you've got
just
it,
giving
you've
you two scenarios.
Different scenario.
Holding a lead. Chasing
All
His
right,
the lead.
form as well. His form
All
as
right, well-
well. His form, Wolverine. You know,
Yeah, but I
Kovacs
don't
looked
think-
all right last
yeah,
couple of
but
times he's
Dino-
come on. And then O'Brien, you know, not so hot when he's made some appearances.
I don't know. I'd argue with that. I'll back my boy O'Brien. I don't think he's been bad coming on either.
Let's move
I don't.
on. Let's move on. You're wrong. Let's move on.
All right, we'll
Back
move
onto
on. We'll
Scarpa.
agree to agree that I'm right, and we'll move on. I want to bring some of the chat's questions in. Let's bring a legend in, Stan. Seeing that he's related to someone, we'll point the question towards this individual. What's your thoughts on the stupid light show before kickoff? Cooper had to come out with a miner's lamp to get to the dugout, and
I didn't see the stupid light show before, but I've heard about it. Listen, Southampton have got to entertain their fans somehow, haven't they? And if that's the only way they can do it, then bless them.
Easter's red. I've always known Easter's red knows what he's talking about. Anyway, all right, let's bring a couple more questions in. Omar says, I was talking about Omar Richards, 12 million spent. Questions need answering about this injury. Well, you kind of need to ask a question, Omar. You should know of all the people. I don't know. Just put that in the wrong place. Simon F says, Scarpa's only played 40 odd minutes. You guys need a cold shower. Simon, I've had about 4 cold showers today. Trust me.
Yeah, that helps.
You're thinking we're overhyping him? We're not. Trust us. Trust me. All right. And S says, what do you think to the pass from Scarpa, Dino?
The one to Nico. Just
before you answer, sorry, Townsend, that's so generous of you with the €10 donation. Thank you so much, buddy. Do appreciate that. That goes into helping us with production, with new equipment and everything else. You don't know how far that goes to. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Sorry, just a quick touch on that, guys. You will see the differences. We're sticking to that. We want to reinvest and give you the best possible. So you'll see new equipment, you'll see some merch coming up, and hopefully you guys get involved. Thank you so much. It's all so generous, and it's so also
those cartoons don't come cheap, do they?
No.
They don't come quick.
Sorry, so and just confirmed though, Dino, it is the one to Nico.
Glorious, like De Bruyne on his day, like, absolutely incredible. He could just do anything, huh? Where's he gone? Yeah,
exactly. I think he's getting some more Kleenex ready.
Can we go back to callback now? He's gone.
Jack. Should we talk about Super Jack for a few minutes?
You know what impressed me, and if you watch the video earlier, of the tactic play, you'll see how Scarpa's looking around. Like even when the ball's coming to him, he's not looking at the ball coming into his feet. He's actually looking everywhere, and that's like top class player, isn't it?
Yep.
Did you hear any of that, Wolverine, or did you?
I did hear all of that. Yeah, you basically just ripped my video off and just regurgitated it.
Well, I was just padding out for you while you're gone.
I did the same
All right,
thing
cool.
earlier on.
This is an interesting question, and this is like it's a nice little segue. I know you asked this earlier, but I was saving it for now. I hope you're still around, buddy. Ez, do you think Dennis will start against Blackpool? Good question. Guys in the chat, the question's so good. When the questions are this good, we're throwing them out to the chat as well. You saw by Ez's stupid looking silence that he's not sure. So guys in the chat, yes or no, will Dennis start on against Blackpool? All right, now he's got that stupid look off his face. We'll go back to Ez.
Oh God, that's permanent.
No, it's still there.
Omar, get the answers up from the chat, please.
If only to put him in the shop window, I don't think he's going to get himself back into.
His price might go down if you do that.
Yeah, well, he's got an opportunity to. His attitude has obviously been the case, and that was a warning we got from Watford fans and others, and we kind of like maybe the hope that linking up with fellow countrymen in the 1 year would help him settle in, but there must be some truth to the rumours. It's not just at Watford; it's at other clubs that he's not somebody who's he is somebody who's detrimental to the back room. So I'd put him in just to get rid of him right now. To be honest, he hasn't worked.
Do you want him out? Do you want him out?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I've defended him for long enough and hoped for the best for him for long enough, and haven't seen enough glimpses of. I've seen glimpses of it, but I've not seen enough quality from him and enough return for the money that we've invested. Maybe he hasn't had the opportunities. He might argue that, and he might argue that correctly, but we can't have hangers on at the moment. You know, if we can make some money back on him, I'd take it right now. To be honest,
I think that's a bit unfair. I think Lingard's had a lot of opportunities. If Dennis would have had those opportunities, I think he'd be in a much better position.
Yeah,
I think his favourite's FC again, isn't it? In some areas, anyway.
But can you see him getting those chances now? You know, and that's
no, I think they'll play. I think they'll have him on the bench and come on, just like you say, just to raise his profile a little bit, like they did with Surridge, I suppose, yesterday.
And I think me and you for once will see eye to eye on this. We've been cheerleaders of Dennis, yeah. Have you turned on me as well on this, or do you still think there's hope?
I've been a massive fan, as you know, of Emmanuel Dennis, but there's something wrong somewhere. And Ez is absolutely right. His reputation is terrible as being a sulker, a stirrer-upper, a bad egg in the changing room and on the training pitch. And maybe that's what's happening. And Steve Cooper, whatever you think of the guy, he wants a harmonised dressing room. It's been one of his biggest strengths. It's something he tries to build on to get that togetherness, which is a good thing. You need that in the Premier League, especially a club like ours. And if Dennis is not part of that, then he has to go. He has to go. I just hope we can get the majority of money back that we paid for him.
I just want to raise this point just before you come back in. Southpaw makes a cracking point in the Q&A. And what he said here is, why not play Dennis? Scapegoated for a mistake. What about Cook, etc.? Because the rumors are the straw that was broken the camel's back on this was the hospital pass for the third Man U goal. Look, we'd already lost the game, hospital pass or not. It's not like we were going to turn it around there. And he makes a cracking point. You know, the mistakes Cook has made for goals, Worrell, etc. Why is he being scapegoated over everyone else?
I don't necessarily think he's being scapegoated. I think he wasn't part of plans anyway, and that's just an easy thing for people to pick up from. You and I were at the Brentford game. We saw Freuler made an absolutely disgraceful crossfield pass that led to their goal. He still played the next game. So I don't think it's necessarily that one thing that's done it.
But I don't think it was so much him giving the ball away. It was his reaction to giving it away.
Which maybe exemplifies why he's not in the side.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but Lingard against Bournemouth, his reaction was pathetic when he conceded that goal.
Agreed.
So, is there a bit of scapegoating in this?
No, I don't think
potentially, but it might also point towards another one where was he Cooper signing? Is he going to give him that extra, that extra chance? I can't see it. Maybe the rumors are true on this one, but he is out the door, and from that point of view, I can't really defend him. I can't really defend his performances.
That's if we can get him out the door. I mean, what's it going to be worth now?
Yeah. Well, there's talks is it's going to be 10 mil going to Saudi or MLS. There's still the whole thing about can you play for more than 2 clubs in a season with the COVID extension rules. I have
to ask the question: if it's Saudi or the MLS, why is this great player not being pursued by other Premier League clubs?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to his reputation, doesn't it? And that's my suspicion.
Yeah,
I'll put it up in the chat as a poll. Dennis to stay, yes or no? Get your thoughts in on the poll. I don't know. I think everyone's raised some really valid points here, but I just don't think he's had a fair crack of the whip. And who mentioned about him not being a Cooper signing? It was Dino, wasn't it? I mean, my argument back to that would be: do you think Scarpa's a Cooper signing? I don't.
I think very few of the.
No, I didn't say that. I think it was Ez that said that.
No, I said it.
We don't really know who Cooper signings are. I mean, we can probably guess by the amount of game time they get. But
and that happens with managers all over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me get on to that. I saw an interview somewhere, like dug away somewhere, where Cooper recently in the last couple of weeks, where Cooper was asked about the signings, and he actually said it is a team effort, and that's the first time I've ever seen that. He did say it was a team effort between all of the team and team decision. So it's definitely there will be ones that will be put in that he's probably not 100% certain on, and there are probably ones that he wants that he never gets.
That's
modern football in the top league.
On his pre-Blackpool presser today, the question was asked about who would be signing, and he did actually say, "Well, we have a team that deals with that." That was it. He didn't even say, we have people that deal with that.
Yeah.
So don't ask me. That's not unusual in this day and age. That's not unusual.
No, that's not. No, it's not. And just my last point on it, and it's what Wolverine said about, and I do agree, he hasn't really been given a chance, but has he done enough in training and everything else to be deserving of that chance? Because that's what we don't see. That's the behind the scenes things that we don't see. And Cooper isn't an unfair manager. I don't believe he is. I think if you do the right things, he will give you your opportunity. But if you're not pulling your weight in training, do you deserve it?
At the moment, McKenna and Cook aren't getting a look in. And they were like favourites, but they're not getting a look in. So, he does make the decisions.
Yeah, but is he making them quick enough would be the question, because Cook should have been dropped weeks before he was actually dropped, So I don't know. I just think there's just something there that's not quite right. Looking at the poll, 37% of you want him to stay and 63% of you want him to go. And also we're 6 likes away from 100. So let's get us into triple figures. If 6 of you would not mind hitting that like button, be much appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Twitter. And next to Ez's big head there is our WhatsApp number where you can get your thoughts and your videos in. Okay, sorry, who was going to say something else? Other corner, mate. It's pointing the wrong way.
I'm pointing right. It's there.
What
no,
is?
It's not.
Well,
it's not.
Get lost. Then.
The last thing you were saying before you said that was about McKenna and Cook.
Yeah. And now I forgot what I wanted to talk about Blackpool. Okay. That was the whole thing, wasn't it, about the Dennis thing? So you didn't actually answer the question, any of you. Will he play it at Blackpool?
Oh, I did. If it puts him in the shop window. I said if it puts him in the shop window, I'd do it.
That's
not a yes or no. That's not a yes or no.
Yeah, it is.
He'll come on a sub second half.
Yeah.
See, the counter argument to that is that if we're intending selling him, are you going to risk him getting injured? That's the counter argument to putting him in the shop window.
Yeah.
Good point. I think one more point to add on Dennis is I think it was pretty damning yesterday that all 3 of the attackers got taken off, didn't they? And him being one of the obvious striker/attacking replacements didn't get a say in it. So for me, I feel that there's too much smoke in this whole fire. And I think he's on his way out. And I think we're going to cut our losses on him, which I still think is a shame. Because one more thing to add from me. When he first came, he came out and he did an interview saying about how he was quite shy at the start. He likes to be this outgoing person, and he had to find his feet. And now he felt he found his feet and was being comfortable with the team. And I've just seen a real connection between him, Uwoni. Obviously, they've known each other from previous clubs. But with Lodi and Scarpinia, those four seem to have formed a bit of a clique. And that's why I think it's a bit of a shame that this is coming about. I don't know what you guys think about that.
My biggest disappointment is Manuel Dennis, because I really rated that guy. I was excited when we signed him. I thought, wow. And it just ain't happened, does it?
I would say, I mean, we've all got great camaraderie, but we're shit footballers. So you being good mates doesn't really equate to
I've still got the old twinkle toes.
No, I've seen you. Oh.
Liar.
He's
all right. Let's move this on.
The interesting thing is that he's been kind of punted out in the press and by the club as saying he's available, not necessarily he's transfer listed, but he's available.
Yeah.
And the only people that are interested in him, bear in mind in the name he had from Watford in a very poor Premier League side. There've only been people from Saudi Arabia and MLS interested in him so far. So maybe he is a trouble causer. I don't know.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Blackpool. Richard, chuck that question in the Q&A and we'll grow. Oh, he has actually. All right. No, he hasn't. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Let's just see if there's any questions there. They are asking. Simon's asking about striker targets. Has anyone got any names that are bringing up them? I'm going to shout this one out for Simon, because not that Simon, but our Simon from FFTV. He's a big admirer of Danny Ings, and he's been doing my head in pretty much the last week on him. There he is in the chat.
It's just copied and pasted that. I've seen that all week in the chat.
And where do you sit on Danny Ings? Not quite literally, but you know.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
you would.
If he's fit, then yeah, I love him. He's a goal scorer.
You're just making it worse. I'm sorry.
I nearly went X-rated then, but I just managed to hold myself in.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would sign him. I would sign him as a Nottingham Forest football player if he's fit, because he is a goal scorer, and goal scorers are goal scorers.
Yeah, I think he's a clinical finisher.
Guys in the chat, just to confirm back, if Danny Ings is fit, Ant would have him.
He sit on him, he said.
Sit on him.
I can't remember saying that. I think that's your imagination.
That's how the question came. That's how the question came to you. It's like, where do you? I said, where do you sit on Danny Ings? And you said, if he's fit, I'd have him.
Yeah, you said I would, and if he's fit, I'd have him. Sorry, guys.
I'm interested in this debate.
It's out on these double entendres. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm interested in this debate from the chat, and I've got to, Simon does so much work for us. You guys see him on the vlogs.
Have a mass debate, are we?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I want to know, because there's another name I want to throw in, and I'm slowly, very slowly thinking it might work, is Chris Wood. I don't know if Spacebar's still in the chat. I'd love his Newcastle take on it, but Dino, if you had to choose between Chris Wood and Ings, would you choose either or neither or both?
The way we play, I'd choose Ings, because we don't tend to cross much, do we? Because we don't normally have a striker. We normally have a false nine. I still go back to the fact that, we've been officially linked to so many attacking midfielders and no real strikers means for me that I don't think he'll play a striker for the rest of the season. I think he's hell-bent on this formation. But I mean, Ings is a goal scorer. Give us Wood. Ings is a goal scorer.
Just look either side of me. Just look either side of me.
Imagine Scarpa passes to Ings. Chris Wood's great in the air. Imagine playing Scarpa on the right wing and crosses into his head. So, not a great fan of Wood, to be honest. I'd rather Ings. It's a bit more.
I want to come on to
this is just fun.
This is going so pear-shaped.
Even my brother chiming in with he'd have him on the bench.
And, all right, let's pretend we're professional for a minute. All right, Ez, Wood, yeah, would you have a bit of Wood, seeing that you're quite the Giroud fan? Because I can't do this, man. It's similar in terms of how they would play.
Ez, do you want Wood or not? Just spit it out. Oh my God, it's getting worse.
Come on.
Oh, why don't you just
come
ask
on.
me if I've got a problem with Wood or anything like that? You know what? Let's go next level.
Just
You're not
answer
a
the
great
question
fan.
about Wood, man.
Dino, not a great fan of Wood. It's my age, buddy. It's my age.
If it's between the two of them, and if there's any possibility of either of them, Ings for me all day.
Ings for
I think
me,
he's a
yeah.
clinical finisher, and I think if we can with the players that we've got that create the chances, that ball yesterday over top for him, that first touch and that finish.
Hey, go on with that, Benny. I've got the head for it.
The only reason that I'm back to being serious, yeah, the channel is gone. Bye bye, I'm professional, isn't it, Mark? I mean, I need new panelists here. The only reason I'm asking you is because you're a fan of Giroud, yeah, and Wood is that lump that just is up front. Who can stop looking at me like that? Right? He can hold the ball up, right? He can header a
Hold your
ball.
balls up.
Is this surely not your kind of player?
How the
Your
hell
name's
can
not
you
Ez.
compare-
Shut up a second.
No, how the hell can you
he's the
compare
Giroud.
Wood with Giroud?
I'm not saying he's
Yeah.
like for like. I'm saying style, man.
Like a player who can hold up the ball. Yes, he
Yeah.
is. And there is room for a player like that in our squad. But you'd have to get rid of somebody else. Surridge would have to go if you're bringing somebody like Chris Wood in, to be honest. But for the way we play, and I've got to agree with Dino. Looking at the players we're linked with, he's not really fancying getting another number 9 in. But if it was, I'd be looking more of a finisher personally, rather than a hold up motion right now.
Sorry. All right, just quickly on the chat's vote. Ings has got 38%. Wood has only got 5%, and neither is on 57%. So
neither on 69. No.
I'd agree with
no,
neither,
no.
but they're the two options.
all right, let's get back to being serious. Oh my God, it's gone crazy. Easter's loving the chat about Wood. Okay, so Blackpool this weekend, and do you care?
No.
Thanks. Dino, do you care?
Yeah.
Fuck me, I need new panel members, man. Ez, do you care?
Yeah, I care about performance. I care about a good result, and I care about giving some players time that haven't been given game time, like your O'Briens and a few others that need some game time. So maybe even seeing Omar Richards. I don't know how far he is away, but we're not seeing much news from him, because if they're looking at
Is that another setback? Another setback, apparently.
Wolverine, I'll make a prediction for you.
Go on.
If we get to Wembley, you'll be all over it. You'll be Scarpa excited. So how you can say you're not bothered is beyond me.
Why are you pointing the finger at me? I haven't answered yet. It's him.
He hasn't answered yet. His hand.
I know you,
hell,
you
man.
don't care about the cup
You're turning
either.
to certain other people accusing me of stuff before I've even said anything.
All right, let me just
You
slightly
remember those
qualify.
Wembley days, mate.
I gave a very short answer. Let me qualify.
You had your chance, mate. Go on.
I don't care about the cups. I care about the Premier League. However, I agree with everything as says about it's an opportunity for the players to gel. What I mean is, I won't be devastated if we lose. Maybe that's a better way of putting it, rather than okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So can I have my Wembley ticket? Can I have my Wembley ticket then, Dino? Forget there.
I love Simon F's comment up there, dirty old Reds. Grumpy old Reds.
All right.
Rebrand.
Well, let me answer the question, right? Because we're down to like 0 viewers now that we've been talking about Wood, right? I don't care about the cups either. But if we get to the semis and the final, then I care. Call me a glory supporter. I don't know. I care about the Premier League. I would now sacrifice the FA Cup and focus just on the League Cup. That would be my thing. I'd put out a bunch of the second stringers for the FA Cup against Blackpool. And if we start progressing, you thank them and then you bring the big team in for the quarterfinals. That's fine by me, yeah? But at the moment, if you take on too much, and the Premier League takes a lot, and the fixtures, the other thing people are forgetting, because of the World Cup, the fixtures have been compressed into an even smaller space. Bloody hell, I can't keep up with these watch-alongs. You guys are struggling as well, you know? You're actually going to matches. So for me, it's a case of play the youth until we get to the latter stages. If we get to the latter stages, and put a first team in, then I start caring. And
I've got a question, mainly for the guys there. Would you,
when you say the guys there, are you talking about the chat
Ez
or the
and
panel?
Dino, because they were both very pro cups, and that's fine. Absolutely understand it. Would you sacrifice both cups for a point in the league? Do you know if you understand what I'm saying?
Depends what that point means. If it means going
no,
down
no,
or staying
right
up,
now,
of course.
right now. If they said right now,
That's
if
a
you
good
stay in the
question.
cups, you will lose against Leicester. If you win, if you come out,
Do you ever
you'll
do
get a point.
psychology? And that's a really good question for a psychologist.
And let's put it this way. Let's just give you some perspective here, because Ant is contracted to only one sensible comment a week, and he's just fulfilled his contract this week.
Just on the next month,
That one extra point, just to give it
point.
some perspective, would move us from 17 to 18 points, which moves us from 15th in the league to 13th in the league, and ahead of Leicester.
I would take that point.
So, Dino, you're a hypocrite then.
Yeah, it's a good question though. Really good.
You're a hypocrite, Dean, is what you're saying.
What? Taking
I'm
that
not a
point
hypocrite.
right
So
now.
I'm not a hypocrite.
You
There's nothing wrong with a good cup run. I would never put the cups over the Premier League, but a good cup run is, I've said before, it's good for morale. It's good for the team knitting together. I've done all of this. It's that simple.
Yeah, I think what Dino said is perfectly fair. He wants to do well in the
but I'd
cups,
still take a
wouldn't-
point.
Sorry. Yeah, I think what Dino said is perfectly fair. That he wants to have a good run in a cup, but he wouldn't sacrifice league points for that run in the cup.
Yeah, but I want to wind him up a bit. I'm going to ask the chat that question, and I think it's a really good question. I think it's a really good question.
Just clarify that question for me. Taking a point now or having a run in the cup?
So good, as didn't get it.
Or the point being a point at the end of the season. No, I wouldn't want to take 1 point now instead of.
So then the season, if we go down by 1 point, then.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now clarify your question. Say it's a crucial point.
The question hasn't changed.
But we don't know, do we?
What are you getting stroppy for? Why are you getting stroppy?
Well, this is what the show's about. We've been too nice on here. Give me a chance.
Listen to the cheese executive.
Yes, listen to the cheese executive when you speak.
No, because I think
cheese executive speaks sense.
All right, let's bring back some order. Yeah, before I start getting comments saying, why have you got these bellends talking over each other? Ez, the question is very simple. Today, Ant is offering you to go from 17 points to 18 points. That would push us up into 13. That point won't disappear. So if we survive by 1 point at the end of the season, that was because Ant was generous enough to offer you that point. However, in payment, you're going to give him 2 L's in the cup. What are you doing?
No, because I think
it's coming your way. You're not getting away with it.
I'm being confident then. I'm going to be confident that we're going to stay up by more than 1 point. So no, I won't take your point. Shove your point, and I'll give me a cup run.
I hope that doesn't come back to bite you on the arse at the end of the season. God, can you imagine if we go down on goal difference? What's going to be coming your way?
Yeah. So guys, let's just remember the time. It's 10 to 11.
Yeah, I got to go.
5th of January. Ez was offered 1 point. If Forest go down on goal difference, I will send you all his personal mobile number and home address, and you guys can deal with him.
And I'd have moved by then.
All right. All right, finally, guys in the chat, get your score predictions in for Blackpool. How do you see the game going? Ez, we'll start with you because you care so much about the cups. What do you see the score being at the weekend? I mean, how many Blackpool players can you name for a start, apart from the one we're giving them back?
That's the only one I can think of right now, to be honest. I can't have, and I think somebody else said this yesterday on some show anyway. Once we're not in a championship, who actually gives a shit about the championship? It's the worst league to be in. We don't want to look back. I've glanced at the table every now and again this season, but I don't know where. I couldn't tell you where Blackpool are. I don't even know if they're in a championship.
They're on like a stinker run, man. They've lost like 5 or 6 in a row. Yeah, they're pretty low.
So their confidence is low. They would probably take a result in the cup to give them a bit of confidence. But I'll go with a comfortable 3-0 win, mate, and give a run out to some of the players that need some time on the pitch. That's what I do. That's my prediction. 3-0.
Dino,
3-1 win.
you're giving them a goal.
Yeah, Scarpa will score all 3, and then he'll score 1 in their end just to make it exciting. He'll back
Or
in.
Bowler scores. So that'd be
goal.
quite nice if Bowler. Well, he can't play his cup tied. No, he's not. No, parent club rule. Parent club. He can't play. He can't play.
Yeah, no, 3-1. 3-1.
No, we've bought him, not loaned him. Or is it for them? Have we loaned him to them?
Loaned him,
loaned
him back. Yeah.
That's the only option,
back
isn't it? Going back there. Yeah.
He's officially gone back there. So I'll bring the update in tomorrow's video anyway. But
I don't think about
for you guys that are here, he's gone back to Blackpool, but he will be. He can't play against parent club unless there sometimes can be a cup stipulation, but I don't think there is on this one. All right, so Dino, you're going 3-1, and
well, unlike Ez, I have a vast knowledge still of the championship. As I mentioned earlier, I can remember 2 teams that play in it, so I feel pretty knowledgeable about that. Yeah, you know what's nice? I was thinking this earlier on is that we're now one of those sort of Premier League, even though we're we're 15th. That's okay. Yeah, we're one of those Premier League teams now that can put out our second string and still think, we should beat them. Exactly. That's where we are now. Last season, Blackpool was tough. Now it's like stick second team out, still got enough quality, which is great. Yeah. And I think we will, and I think we'll probably win 2-0, something like that.
Yeah,
I'm getting a nice, arrogant Premier League feeling now, like all the others have got.
Mate, I absolutely love that feeling.
We just had my next lookalike. I told you Max from EastEnders, didn't I? That was one of mine.
Oh my God.
Harry Hill, Max from EastEnders, Frankie Boyle.
Yeah.
What else we had?
Heston.
Heston, Heston
Blumenthal. We're just collecting ugly bold men.
So badly look like Max. Take the glasses off, and it's Max.
We'll have to do a Where's Dino. We'll have all these other people.
He's everywhere. He's on every show.
Guys, I've lost them, so we're going to wrap up there. I'm going to say thank you so much for tuning into the Grumpy Old Reds. We'll be back tomorrow with a transfer update.
Moby. That's a good one. Yeah. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, Wolf.
We've also got the showdown where we're going to get head-to-head with another Blackpool YouTuber, so that should be fun as well. And then, of course, what else we got tomorrow? There's other stuff going on. Obviously, we'll do the Blackpool watch along. Not that I care, so it's going to be a pretty chilled stream. It's away from home. It is what it is. Before you leave, please hit the like. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all of you for tuning in tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the party. Hope you love the background. He's so beautiful. And thank you to the panelists. We'll see you tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds.